I want to show you some of the features of Nearpod that make it great for working with students. When you log in and go to your home screen, you'll see these 5 tabs. The Explore tab is where you find existing Nearpods in the Nearpod library. You can download these and use them as is or edit them to fit your needs. By clicking on the tag here, you can find Nearpods based on Common Core standards. You can search by subject matter, by grade level, or by free or paid. There's also further down, you can search by author, so if you know someone that's created a Nearpod, you could find a specific one. If you want to just search by subject or by keyword, you would click on the magnifying glass. Once you find a Nearpod that you want to use or preview, you can take a look at the slides that are there. And if you've decided it works for you, then you would click on free and put it in your library. So now we're going to go back to the home screen and we're going to look at my library. And these are Nearpods that I currently have. This is a Nearpod that I've downloaded from the store, and I can publish it or I can edit it. These are Nearpods that I've been using, so they've already been published. I have the option of going in and creating a live session to work with students in real time. I can assign a Nearpod as homework or for students to work on independently. I can also edit the Nearpod. So if there was something I needed to change after I've published it, I can always go back and edit. If I click over here on the 3 dots, I have the option to share it, to duplicate it, to export it as a PDF, or to just look at the reports. If I export it as a PDF, that'll give me a way to hold on to that Nearpod if I want to delete it from my library, but still have the information to possibly use later. On this screen, I can also create a new presentation, or if I go back to the home screen, I can create a new presentation here under Create. So when I do a create new presentation, I would go up and change the name. So I would say this is my practice Nearpod. And then I'm going to add slides. And when I choose to add a slide, I have 3 choices. I can add a content slide, which allows me to add text. I can add text, I can add images, I can add audio. Images is what you want to use when you upload an existing PowerPoint so that each of the slides in the PowerPoint will be an individual slide in your Nearpod. Text allows you to just change the text that's on the screen, and of course audio lets you record something. If I go back to my content, I can add video, and I can add my video from my own personal files, from Dropbox, from YouTube, and from Google Drive. I can add content. I can add an audio. I can also add a slideshow, and you're going to see these examples of these later. A slideshow is in one Nearpod screen. Your students will be able to flip through all the slides in a slideshow. We can also add a field trip, which we're going to take a look at in a minute. You can have a PDF viewer or a Twitter stream. From web content, you can add a link to a website. So this would take your students right to a website that you want them to use without them having to ever get out of the Nearpod app. And finally, one of the most useful pieces is the activities. So we can add open-ended questions, poll questions, quiz questions. We can have the students draw something. You can do fill in the blank or a memory game. So there's quite a few options for types of screens that we can add to our Nearpod. Finally, if we go back to our home screen, join just lets us put in the code to join one, so I'm not going to spend too much time there. But if we look at the reports, these are current Nearpods that I've been using. And if I click on one of them, this is times that I've used the Nearpod. So if I click on one of the classes, I can actually go and look at the different activities that we did, and I can get reports on what the students did. So in this one, we didn't get to the quiz at the end, so there are no answers yet. We did do a poll question, so I can see that I had 37 no's. I'm sorry, 57% said no, 35 said yes, and then I had some who didn't answer. But I can look specifically at their answers on this side when I look, and I can see what each student said. I had a draw it, which I asked them to fill in questions. So I asked a question and had them actually write their answer on the screen. And so I can look at their answers individually. So this is one of the students' answers. This is what she said. So the reports give me a nice synopsis of what the students did on the Nearpods. So there's a quick review of the tabs in Nearpod.